Say goodbye to dense, gummy, gluten-free muffins. These gluten-free banana muffins are moist, tender, and impossibly fluffy. Hi, I'm Melissa Erdelak from the gluten-free website, Mama Gourmand, and today we are going to make fluffy, gluten-free banana muffins. Now, working with gluten-free flour and mashed bananas kind of yields some not so great results. They can be really dense and gummy and have like a real compressed crumb to it. So today I'm going to talk you through how we combat that and how we make a real tender, fluffy muffin while still using gluten-free all-purpose flour and mashed banana. So let's make your gluten-free life a success and not a hot mess. So we start off in a large bowl and we're going to mix together our dry ingredients. You will need 1 2/3 cup of gluten-free all-purpose flour. Now, I typically use cup for cup gluten-free flour. For this recipe, I feel like it's pretty forgivable, so you can use whatever blend you prefer. 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of baking soda. Then we just need 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. You can get a little creative here. You could add more cinnamon, you could add a little nutmeg, you can add ground cloves to make a more of a banana spiced muffin, and then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then we're just going to whisk those dry ingredients together. Okay, now we're gonna do our liquid ingredients. So we need 1 egg, 1/3 cup of oil. You could use any oil you prefer. And here is one way that we combat those dense muffins. So we're using a little bit less oil because gluten-free starches can't absorb as much moisture, and mashed bananas has a lot of moisture in it. So we're compensating for the mashed bananas by using less oil. The other thing with banana recipes, always measure your bananas. I never trust recipes that just say add 3 bananas or 4 bananas, because bananas are wildly different sizes. So I always measure my mashed bananas, and you'll need a cup, which is approximately 3 medium bananas, but measure it before adding it. And then 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. Okay, we're just gonna whisk all that together. And do a little swap-a-rooney, and then just pour the liquid ingredients into the dry and stir it up. Pretty simple. Of course, at this point is when you can add any mix-ins. So you could do chopped nuts, you can do dried fruits like cranberries or raisins, chocolate chips would be good. If you go to the recipe on my website, I have a lot of mix-ins with the ingredient amounts that you would need. Just mix it enough to make sure all the flour is worked in, and we're ready to put it in the muffin tins. So I'm gonna run a little experiment here. Generally with my gluten-free muffin recipes, I let the batter rest for about 10 minutes before I bake them, but those muffins use butter where these use oil. So I'm gonna bake half of them right away, and then the other half I'll wait about 5 or 10 minutes and bake them, and then see if there's any difference in the texture. Now, when distributing muffin batter, this is so much easier. I just use a large trigger scoop, because look at that, so much easier. And you want to fill up the muffins to about 3/4 of the way full, so almost to the top. And then I love a little of the coarse sugar to sprinkle on top. Gives like nice crunchy sweet tops to them. Okay, I'm gonna bake this pan right away. It's going to bake for about 18 to 20 minutes until they're nice and domed, and when you touch the middle, it'll bounce back, then you know it's done. All right, here's our baking test, our side-by-side. So this muffin was rested for 10 minutes. This one I baked right away. The color on the rested one is a little lighter than the other one, and it's also, I would say across the board, they were a little bit fluffier. They baked a little higher. For the texture, there's nothing that jumps out at me of the difference in the texture. You could just see that the muffin that rested is a little bit taller than the other one. So I'm just gonna try a little bit and see how it is. I can tell a difference. Resting for 10 minutes. I'm gonna change the recipe. You have to rest them for 10 minutes first. This one is just a little more tender. The crumb's not as sticky. I think it's just that extra time to let the gluten-free starches kind of absorb and all that moisture. So yes, just let them rest about 10 minutes in the muffin pan before you bake them. So if you'd really like to go all out on a bakery style muffin, I will link to a couple other gluten-free muffin recipes below, and you can use the crumb topping or streusel topping and even drizzle a little glaze on top. It would be super on point. You can find this recipe as well as all my gluten-free muffin recipes on my website and in the description box below. I will see you in the next video.